experienced for once.
Just what kind of game is Atomfall? Following its reveal last summer featuring 1950s retro-futuristic technology and a story surrounding a nuclear disaster, it very quickly appeared that this was going to be a British riff on the modern Fallout series. But as has been stated time and again since then in headlines across the gaming press, Atomfall is not Fallout. In terms of narrative at least, this is much more of a British stalker than it is Fallout. The game takes place following the Windscale disaster in North England. This was the worst nuclear accident in the UK history, in which one of the reactors at this plant caught fire for 3 days and released radioactive material into the atmosphere. While nowhere near the scale of disaster of Chernobyl or even 3 Mile Island accident, this was actually subject to a massive cover-up. The UK government hugely downplayed the severity of the issue, and they completely failed to evacuate the surrounding area. In Atomfall, though, something very different is at play. There's a mystical force, or a being, that is known as Oberon. The military group known as Protocol has moved in, and a lockdown has cut off the region from the rest of the world for the last 5 years or so. That has led to a stark divide, as some live within the secured confines of Wyndham Village, while feathered outlaws and mask-wearing druids roam the surrounding wilderness, only really interrupted by the occasional Protocol patrol. Our hands-on time with Atomfall picked up a little way into the story as you first set foot in Casterfell Woods. This region is largely controlled by the druids, who follow what they call the voice in the soil, having set up wooden walls around their camps and keeping massive bonfires alight, and with towering wicker men standing watch, a very, very British touch. The druids aren't openly hostile to you upon first sight whenever they spot you. In fact, they shout warnings to say if they don't know if you're a danger to them, and just to keep your distance and stay away. But they're quick to defend themselves with a strong attack if you do get too close or are openly armed. Since they tend to patrol in groups, you would do well to keep a little distance, because 4 against 1 does not generally go well. After all, you are armed with deeply insufficient weaponry. The events at Windscale has led to the accelerated corrosion in the region, particularly affecting metals, and with everybody cut off from the rest of the country, you'll be walking around with rusty shooters, and that's not a euphemism. At least you can always rely on having a handy hatchet to throw at enemies. The tetanus that they'll get from the rusty metal will obviously do a good job there. Or you can go for the blunt force trauma and melee clobbering using a good old cricket bat. It's all starting to sound a little bit Clockwork Orange here, isn't it? Keeping your distance from the druids and the bandits won't always be an option. Tramping through the woods following the one lead that I have at this stage of the game, I make my way to meet Mother Yago, a villager that has outcast herself from the village and made a funny little life for herself at an old mine, where she makes natural tonics and remedies and sells them to other people. She's happy to help you, giving you the lay of the land a little bit, but if she's going to peel back a little bit more of the mystery, she just asks you to do a little favour and go get her herbalism book back from the druids. Of course, that means heading all the way to the other side of the map, and you can go in all guns blazing when you get there, but you'll probably have a hard time of it, considering that you've got such limited ammo. So I felt it was much better to take a stealthier approach, hiding away in thick grass to keep out of view once you reach their base at a ruined castle. Heading into the cave network beneath reveals this otherworldly, blue, glowing growths all over the place, and even more horrors as there's sometimes human bodies incorporated into these. I later encountered the ferals that these poor souls might eventually turn into, zombie-like creatures that glow blue from their insides and spit out blue goop once you awaken them from their slumber. Get hit by their attacks and heavy whispers will flood your ears. Is this what the voice is? Clearly, the events at the Atom Factory have unleashed something, and through exploring the region and continuing down the quest lines I had discovered, it certainly feels like there's multiple paths to take through the story. Do you align yourself with the very real voice, or is that related to the Oberon that you're told that you have to kill when answering one of the oddly placed red telephone boxes? There's a lot of mysteries to unravel here. There's also some more almost incidental storytelling that you can happen upon as well. I found the survivor of a helicopter crash discovering that she'd holed herself up in a communications bunker, and with a nudge that she gave me to help to access the interchange, I was able to start to get into the process of discovering what Bard were up to down there. Just beware that if you do start to head into this scientific facility, there are mutated rat swarms that will absolutely rinse your healing supplies. You'll also inevitably be drawn to Wyndham Village, uncovering the tales of the locals who remain under the thumb of the protocol rule, and they're not so happy about it either. Throughout all of this, while these are wider open world areas, I'm reminded a little bit more of something like Bioshock than I am of Fallout. With the limited supplies and the damage that enemies can deal to you, there's a particular feel to the combat that I find quite reminiscent of that game, even if you're not shooting bees out of your fingertips. Instead, you'll be scavenging for usable items and crafting materials to use with various recipes that you find. There's also a kind of learning potion that is cooked up by Bard that gives points towards learning new skills. It's a reward for exploring and a good alternative to gathering XP and leveling up like you would have in an RPG. I also love the visual style and tone of Atomfall. There's common ground to Rebellion's other work in the look and the feel of the world, in part thanks to the game engine, but instead of bombed out cities and facilities of World War II, you're in this distinctly British part of the world, from the stone buildings in the village to the army fatigues and the flat caps that people are wearing, and even to the way that the druids have decorated their caves with multicoloured bunting, decorations fit for a jubilee almost. I came out of my time with Atomfall filled with questions for the whole mystery surrounding Windscale and the entrapped population, but also a ton of answers for what the game is actually like. I've honestly no idea which way I'm going to lean when wending my way through the full narrative, but I enjoy the feel of this world that Rebellion has crafted, the late 50s and early 60s style of the world and its inhabitants, and the leanings of the gameplay and the combat. There's just a few weeks before release, and I am certainly now looking forward to trying out the full game. Atomfall is launching for PS5, Xbox Series X and S, PS4, Xbox One, and PC on the 27th of March. Keep an eye out for a review over on the6thAxis.com, make sure to do the usual YouTube things, and hopefully we will see you again soon. Goodbye!
See that big metal bugger? I could have it. I could.
Steady on, George. It's got guns on it, you know.
Stop pinning it out like it owns the place.
Aye, but the robbers are probably rid of them robots. They won't try the luck here while we've got that.
Drop it.